What's up, guys? I've got some Reddit stories for y'all. I'm gonna be playing some Minecraft and getting diamond armor in my new world. So yeah, let's get right into the first story here. All right, first one. I broke up with my girlfriend on Christmas because of her family. All right, I have a feeling this one's gonna be good. Okay, I'm of indigenous descent. I do perform at Poos. I don't know, and sing too. My girlfriend is white, so is her family, except for her brother-in-law. He's African American. This is my first Christmas with them and my girlfriend, which they've been together for a year and a half. There's a bit of that backstory. So I went to my girlfriend's family gathering for Christmas yesterday, and while there, it comes up that I dance and sing at powwows. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah. Conversation starts off innocent enough, but I get that feeling that people of color get when sometimes these kind of talks come up. And I know something offensive is about to go down. There are 15 grown people here and 4 children. So I'm fielding questions, statements like, do the words mean anything or is it just gibberish? I can hop too. How much Indian are you? Do you get money from the casino? What type of questions are these, bro? Anyways, my girlfriend's uncle tells me to do an Indian chant and wants me to dance too. I said no. Then the girlfriend's dad chimes in with a, come on, do one. And then like 6 others start asking. I say it's just weird and I don't want to. Girlfriend's brother-in-law is staring at the floor, glancing over at me with a look that says, I'm so sorry. After about 5 minutes of this poo, her uncle tells his kids to dance and sing like an Indian. So there's 2 white children making Indian noises and jumping around the room. Girlfriend is laughing, like, what the frick? And everyone is cheering for them. Me and the brother-in-law are staring in complete freaking disbelief. This is a wild story already. Then they start it on me again. They can do it, show them how it's actually done. I've had enough. I stand up and tell them I'm not their show monkey, and they need to decide to be more respectful of other cultures. Girlfriend just sits there. She's been at least to 10 of my performances and claims to love my culture, and she has not once defended me or it here. I look over at her and ask her to help me out here, and she sheepishly says they're just kidding around. And I say, okay, well, I'm not kidding around when I say we're done. Her dad and her uncle start saying something, and her sister says that's not fair. And I start walking to the bedroom to get my stuff to leave. While doing so, I forget that she drove her car, and I'm without transport to get 4 hours to my apartment. So I suck it up, go back out there, while the girlfriend's grandma is telling everyone off. She's not happy about what transpired, and she's a saint of a woman. I say to the ex-girlfriend, you need to take me home now, please. She's crying, and her dad says, find your own way, you freaking bastard. Brother-in-law stands up and says, I'll do it. His wife tells him not to, and he says that something like this was all too much, and he can't just leave me stranded. So I get into his truck and I'm shaking. I'm so pissed off. And he gets in, starts it up, and we're off. About 15 minutes down the road, he looks at me and says, bro, what the fuck? And we all start laughing. He tells me about what happened at his first time meeting the family and the stories thereafter, and honestly, I think I dodged a bullet. You definitely dodged a bullet, bro. That's wild. Coming from a girlfriend's family too. Like, not even just, that's insane. So today I've been getting these messages from my friends and mutual friends of my ex about how I'm an asshole for breaking up with her in front of her family, cussing them all out, and demanding they fly me back home. Apparently she's been feeding them all an extremely exaggerated event. One asked me if I keyed her dad's car before I left. Anyways, I've been feeling kind of bad for dumping her in front of her family. My adrenaline is still active and my nerves are all on end. Is what I did too much? How do I get my friends to believe that what I did was justified? I know she probably didn't mean what she did, but still. She's been texting me and trying to smooth things over, but I honestly don't see it. Especially after lying to our friends. But also part of me does miss her. We've been holed up at my place for 11 months, getting to know almost everything about each other. I'm confused. I know me and most of her family are done even if we work this stuff out. It's a weird thing to love someone and then suddenly you have to tell yourself you don't anymore. After that, he goes on to say and talks about how he gets a lot of texts and stuff for apology. But honestly, like, making fun of someone's culture, like, bro, that's just not something, like, you cannot go back to that. It doesn't matter how much someone like apologizes. Like, there's just no defending that. Like, you can't just start making fun of someone's culture. And I don't know, man. He definitely dodged a bullet, and hopefully he finds a way to like settle it. But I would say not go back to that girlfriend because that is just not. I would immediately cut off all contact. But that's crazy on Christmas too. I guess yeah, like breaking up with someone on Christmas is probably not the best way to do it. But like given the circumstances, I feel like he's in the right. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm just a random dude on the internet. But anyways, interesting first story. Let's go to the second one. All right, this is the second one. This one Loki seems a lot more funny. So let's hope this one's good. Title is My Dentist Asked Me Out, Not Sure What to Do. Went to the grocery store over the weekend and saw my dentist, which was a little weird, but she recognized me, came up and said hi. We had a little chat and it was nice because human contact is so non-existent nowadays. That's valid. Then she said she had to go and ask for my number. I figured she needed it for dentistry reasons, if I'm being honest, but I probably should have figured it wasn't for that. Anyway, after I got home, she started texting me with casual stuff. Eventually, we talked about how I'd never read Harry Potter or seen the movies, and she said we could grab some food and I'll watch them with you. Followed by if you want, about 5 minutes later. I haven't responded and it's been 30 minutes. If she wasn't my dentist, it would be an absolute yes. She's hot and she's fun to talk to. And I know we share a couple of hobbies too, which is always nice. On the other hand, I'm 90% sure that they aren't supposed to be talking to their patients or asking them out. I always thought that she was being a little flirty sometimes, but like I said, I don't think they're supposed to do that, so I never took it as flirting. So I guess what I'm asking her is, what the hell do I do? I don't want to cause problems with her career, but I would also like to date her a lot. I would say go for it. Is there? Oh, there is. Okay, there's a 3 days later continuation. All right. There's the update. We got together, had some food, and watched Harry Potter. That's about it, to be honest. In all seriousness, we hit it off pretty quickly. I kind of feel like we were already friends anyways. We usually talk a lot during appointments while she's getting all the tools ready. So I know her a little bit already, but not being in that setting made it easier to talk to her for sure. I also confessed a bunch of stuff, found out she's had a crush on me since my first appointment 2 years ago, and she was trying to figure out how to ask me out for a while. Also got to hear about how she would have purposely tried to get a light schedule when I was coming in so that she could go slower and would have more time to talk, which I think is the cutest thing I've ever heard. A girl actually wanted to spend more time with me on purpose. Another thing, I thought there were 3 Harry Potter movies, not hundreds, and we got to 2 of them and had another date set up tomorrow, so I'm not complaining. Also, I had to take all the tests, so in case you're interested, Ravenclaw and I have a wood mouse Patronus. She seemed happy with that. Don't know why, but she's in Ravenclaw too, so I'm not sure that has something to do with it. Lastly, the entire reason I'm in my last post. I talked to her about it, and I do need to get a new dentist, which kind of sucks, but it's understandable and worth it. Not like I'll be missing her or anything, because I can just talk to her whenever now. Unfortunately, until all the dentist swapping is dealt with, we are just friends, but we both made it clear that we want to be something more than that when we can. Alright, I'm not going to read the rest because it's kind of interesting, I'll say that, but happy ending, I guess. I don't know what to say. I mean, that's pretty funny that your dentist asks you out. But honestly, I'd say I feel happy for the dude. I think it's a dude. I don't know. Yeah, honestly, that's good. Pretty heartwarming story. Glad it all worked out. Kind of weird that she's your dentist, but that's doesn't matter. Love is love, or whatever. I don't know. That was pretty entertaining. All right, next story. All right, we've got ourselves a third story here. Title is, Am I the asshole for ignoring my family after they excluded me from Christmas again? A lot of Christmas ones today, huh? Alright. For context, I, 29 female, have not been on great terms with my family for a long time. My mom has spent most of her life doing anything she can to tear me down, and as of now, I haven't spoken to her for almost 3 years. I'm in an okay relationship with my brother, and I love my dad even though he nibbles my mom and never stands up for me because he doesn't like to rock the boat. Until a few months ago, I lived pretty close to my parents, but recently moved across the country, and I don't have any friends or family anywhere near my new home. I love holidays and celebrations, but no one else in my family does. When I was younger, They used to make fun of me or get frustrated when I would try to be festive around Christmas, and eventually I stopped trying. For the past decade, my family hasn't done anything for any holiday, and I've become okay with that. However, my brother, who lives in a different state, got divorced a couple of years ago, and his ex took their house, so my parents bought a duplex in his town so that he could live on one side with my 4-year-old niece, and they could live part time on the other. They still have their new house in my hometown that they live in most of the year, but the last 2 years my parents have gone up to stay on their side of the duplex for the whole month of December. They have celebrated Christmas with my brother and niece. Last year they didn't even tell me that they were going, and I found out from my dad's Facebook. It hurt that they decided to celebrate Christmas all together and didn't even tell me, but I shook it off. This year, though, they did it again. My dad called me on Christmas Eve and told me how much fun they were having as a family, then asked me what I was doing for Christmas. I told him I was doing nothing. I don't know why. I don't know anyone in my new city, and my family's celebrating Christmas all without me. He paused like he didn't consider that, then quickly got off the phone. He later sent me a selfie of them all saying Merry Christmas from Brother's State. I didn't answer. This is already crazy, bro. Kind of a bum family. I mean, like, I don't want to like judge or anything, but like that's like that would hurt. All right. Actually, I stopped answering at all. My dad and I usually talk 2 to 3 times a week to check in, but he's called me once and texted me twice, and I haven't answered since Christmas Eve, 7 days ago. I've also not been posting on my socials, and given that I'm not answering and reposting, and I'm all alone in a city far away, he really doesn't know if I'm alive or dead. He texted me yesterday saying, "Please tell me if you're okay," and I haven't responded. I know it's petty, but I'm really hurt that I wasn't even thought of for the family holiday. Even if I was invited, I probably wouldn't have gone just because I don't want to be around my mom. But being left out entirely really hurts, and having them rub it in my face with their selfies even worse. I've been ignored by my family for my whole life, and I'm tired of trying. I don't know how to say this to my dad, and I don't want to talk to him until I know what to say. Am I the asshole for maintaining my silence? This is a really weird situation, honestly, and I feel like there's a continuation, there's an update from 10 months after that happened, so I'll read that. But before we do that, I feel like, I mean, they didn't even like ask you anything before, so I feel like you're like, they definitely should have considered you, and like it's really bad that they didn't, but I mean, they are your family. I don't know, bro. I'm just a dumbass on the internet, so I would say you're all right, but maybe try and improve your relationship with them somehow a little bit. Or if it really is like bad, then just like don't do anything. I don't know, man. All right. This is the update. After a couple of weeks of radio silence, I followed some good advice from my original post and texted my dad to tell him that it hurt my feelings that they left me out, and he half apologized and life went on. A lot of people pointed out that my family was toxic. Me ignoring my dad was also pretty toxic, and they were right. My family is super passive aggressive, and that is the only way I'd ever learned to handle conflict. And to answer some more comments, I've been at therapy for about 6 years, and after last Christmas, I started working with my therapist on how to do healthier confrontation. It's still not something I'm super comfy with, but I'm getting better. I've also made a good number of friends in my new city, and I'm doing pretty well, all things considered. With my family, at the end of the day, nothing has changed. They didn't really acknowledge my 30th birthday in spring, and most recently, when I invited my dad to my grad school graduation next year, he told me that he couldn't commit to anything right now because he's waiting to see if something that he'd rather do comes up. My brother said he'd come, but he already gone from a yes to a maybe, so I don't have any high hopes. The good news is that it finally hurts less because I have more or less given up on having a real relationship with them. I'm never going to be loved or cared about by them the way I want to be, and I've come to accept that. As of now, I have no plans for Christmas this year, but that's okay. My family sucks, but I'm really lucky to have my friends, and I'm grateful for that. That sad story, bro. Honestly, I feel really bad, but it's good that it doesn't hurt as much. But yeah, that's a tragic story, bro. And coming from family too, I understand like friends are like friends, but from family that must really hurt. So that's really bad. Hopefully they're doing better. But yeah, let's move on to another story. Alright, we've got the next story here. Title is Coworker Won't Stop Sulking After I Turn Down a Date. This is gonna be interesting. Alright. I moved to my current role in late November of last year. Also, this is a really old post, but I think it's entertaining from what I've seen, so. I moved to my current role in late November last year. Many of the other employees have known each other for years and socialized together out of work. In principle, I prefer to keep my work and personal lives separate, but I will go to lunch from time to time and to get the yay we met our targets drinks. The problem: one of my male colleagues has taken a fancy to me and asked me out. There is no policy against dating your colleagues where I work, other than your direct supervisor. However, apart from the fact that I do not care to star in the office gossip mill, I've spent enough time around him in the last 5 months to know that I'm not at all attracted to him. The first time he asked, I had no interest in either him or the show, so I declined and told him that I preferred to keep my social life well away from work. Unfortunately, this apparently was not enough, and he asked me again 2 weeks ago, proffering tickets to a concert the following weekend. This time I told him that I was sorry if my previous statement had been ambiguous in some way, but I really was not interested in dating him and not to ask me again. Alright, that seems pretty normal. To make matters bad rather than just a trifle awkward, it appears that he told his friends at the office what he was planning to do, in the expectation that I would be delighted with his offer. I found out this when I was asked on the Monday in a nudge and wink fashion how I'd enjoyed the concert on the weekend. Further, one of his friends attempted to reproach me for turning him down, to which I told her that my personal life was really not her business. However, ever since, the unwanted admirer has been wandering the office like a huge dark cloud, sighing and glaring, and pointedly avoiding talking to me, even when I'm the best person to ask a question of. This seems like a bunch of kindergartners, I'm gonna be honest, bro. This is kind of funny. Frankly, this just convinces me that I was right not to date him, and that office relationships in general should be approached with extreme caution. If he's still behaving like this 2 weeks after I turned on a date, what would he have done if I dated him and broken off? However, we still have to work together, and our mutual boss, who has been out on leave, will come back next week and will want to know why he's been behaving like this. I realize that the action to which I feel most inclined, whacking him about the head with a file yelling, "Pull yourself together," would not help and would probably get me fired. What alternatives do you suggest? Alright, let's go to the update, which is 7 months after. Idiot boy and idiot friend. So I think the boy is the person who asked her out, and friend is his friend. Idiot boy and an idiot friend were spoken to by our mutual manager. Idiot boy seemed to cool down a bit and decided he would speak to me but not chat. He would not ask me what I've done over the weekend, but he would ask me if I was done with the reference materials for the report, or whether I knew who was dealing with our account at the newspaper since our usual contact was on maternity, that kind of thing. Fine with me. Sadly, his idiot friend could not accept this and attempted to corner me in the ladies' toilets, where she told me that she couldn't understand why you just won't date idiot boy. I, unfortunately, having a rather bad day, encountered with, "You don't understand? I will tell you what I don't understand. I don't understand why you think my personal life is your business, and I don't understand why you think that nagging at me is going to get me, idiot boy, into my pants. And by God, if I hear one more word about it, I'm going to file a formal written complaint against the pair of you." Cue appearance of department manager from the toilet cubicle and manner of pantomime demon king, numerous meetings with HR, and termination of idiot friend. Idiot boy was spared the axe, and he apologized profusely to me, promised that he was not responsible for me being cornered, and would have stopped friend if he knew, so he received a final written warning about his conduct. This was about 6 months ago. I accepted a promotion into a new department where my colleagues seemed pleasant enough and unstalkerish. I understand via the grapevine, though, the lessons remain to be learned by Idiot Boy's other friends. One of them apparently asked a female staff member at the Christmas party, what she would do if he put his hands there and there. She cheerfully told him that he would smack his face until his ears rang. He seemed to have believed her. This office seems like a group of kindergartners. One of the comments says, sometimes at the zoo you can watch primates do something stupid. And then you would think, yeah, we've evolved past that. But no, we haven't, bro. This is pretty funny. Like, to walk around sad and, like, avoiding someone because they don't like you, bro, that seems something like a high schooler or, like, even like a middle schooler would do, bro. Gotta pull it together, man. That's kind of funny, though. I think the person who wrote this handled it with professionalism, though. Except that one comment, but, like, I think it ended up pretty good. And they moved out of the department, so that's good. Alright, that was a funny story. On to the next story. Alright, here's another story. This one's gonna be good. I work at Hooters and my boyfriend doesn't like it. A little backstory to this first. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 4 years. We broke up for 6 months for a lot of reasons, mostly disrespect on his part and emotional abuse. I decided to give things another try, and things have been really great since then. I worked at Hooters when we first started dating, but I eventually quit and started bartending at various bars. I worked my way through college and I'm set to graduate next May. It got to the point into our relationship where he said he didn't want to date a girl who worked at a place like that, so I stopped bartending and didn't work at Hooters again. Fast forward 3 years later, we're broken up and I move out of his apartment. I work at Hooters again because it's an easy job and it's extremely flexible with my school schedule. Not to mention, it's down the street from where I moved to. We get back together and he says he'll support me about working there. We were talking today and I can tell something was clearly wrong. I asked him what was wrong because I feel it's really important to communicate your feelings, and he said he didn't really want to talk about it. And I said, okay, well, I want you to be able to talk to me about anything. Long story short, he gets really upset on the phone and says he doesn't like me working at Hooters and he hates that I get off late. I start to get upset because he said he would support me, but now he's saying that it's a really trashy place and he's been putting aside all of his feelings to, quote, support me, and that by him, quote, supporting me, it's really just him pretending he doesn't care about it. And since he's starting to graduate school, he doesn't want to deal with all this shit. I guess me getting off work late, and he doesn't feel that I feel the same way about it. I've already told him how I feel about it. I would rather not work at a restaurant anymore. I would rather have some crushy job working at a Kendra Scott store or something, but that doesn't pay me bills. I pay for all my own bills while he has a millionaire dad who pays for all of his bills. He also said that he's never going to support me 100% about it, which bothered me because I feel like you either support someone or you don't. And I told him I was working there before we even got back together, and this is temporary until I graduate. The entire conversation just made me feel bad, and like he wanted me to say, okay, I'll quit and find a new job. He also said he didn't want to talk about it to begin with because it didn't matter. I don't know what to do, Reddit. This is putting a lot of stress on me now. Interesting situation, but I feel like, I can understand why he doesn't want you to work at Hooters, I think, but it seems a little excessive, so I don't know. Let's look at the 10 days later update. Well, we broke up. At first, he apologized and said he would support me when I told him this was clearly a temporary job. But things came to a head again yesterday when I went to a festival for a few hours with some friends, and he doesn't like those kind of things anymore. That basically, by me going, it is a distraction for him. And also that I don't care about his feelings because he mentioned he didn't like festivals. But I didn't really understand that by him telling me that he didn't want me going at all, and he didn't really have a reason for it either. He ended up bringing up the fact that I work at Hooters again, even though we clearly talked about it a week ago, and thought we had come to the conclusion that I'm not going to quit my job, and he seemed to understand. So I felt like he was back to trying to control me and making me feel guilty for going to one damn concert/festival. And we got into a huge fight, basically ending on me saying, unless he's going to pay for all my bills, he has no say in where I work. Well, that didn't end well. He just ended up saying, well, I didn't know this is how you felt about everything. I wish I had known, because I previously stopped working at bars/Hooters for him. And I was just like, okay, Then I started to feel guilty, like maybe I should stop going to these kind of concerts and change my job. I regret even trying to work things out with him, for it ended up just like this a few months later. But at least I gave it another chance. I feel like he's being really controlling, so you probably shouldn't. And he's not even covering your bills, so you have to work. I don't know. Let's read the final update. So this is 4 months later. It's been about 4 months since I last posted, but I thought I'd give you all an update. Here's my last update and my original post. So basically, I've been no contact with my ex since the last post. I was still in a really bad place emotionally and mentally 4 months ago. I'd been struggling with that emotionally abusive relationship for almost 4 years, and it honestly messes with your head after a while. You get used to the shittiness for so long that it starts to become a norm. When you look at it from the outside perspective, you just want to be like, what the frick are you doing? For anyone that is in a similar position that I was, please, please, please get support from your friends, family, / whoever. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, I promise you. I'm now in a really healthy relationship with a guy who could give two shits whether or not I work at Hooters. Oh, and definitely we got back from Austin City Limits, which is a festival, and had a great time, thanks to not having anyone trying to make me feel guilty for going. Pretty short update. Nothing too exciting, but I wanted to say thank you, Reddit. I think it ended up all right. I mean, obviously the relationship wasn't good, but it's good that they split up and she found someone new who seems to care about her. So that's good. Interesting story. Yeah, I guess happy ending. All right, next story. This one's title is My Boyfriend Faked a Proposal to Me for His Friend's Prank Video. Using a throwaway. I'm sorry, but I'm shaking and still upset, and I really don't know what to do anymore. I can't deal with my boyfriend anymore. Me and Mike have been dating for 6 years now. I love him with all my heart, and he knows that I really, really want to be married to him. I've always felt like he's the one. We have a similar sense of humor, we've been living together for 3 years, and everything feels just right. My birthday was last weekend, and Mike kept dropping little hints about possibly proposing to me, like buying a spa day to give me extra pampering, insisting I get my nails done, and telling me that the night was going to be huge and he had an amazing gift for me. We went to dinner with our friends that night, and in front of everyone, he made a big show of getting down on one knee and saying the words I've always wanted to hear. How much he loved me, how much he truly wanted to spend his life with me, and then asking me to marry him. Of course, I started crying and said yes. And that's when he jumped up and screamed, "Just kidding." His friend had been filming an entire fucking thing as some sort of twisted prank video for his frickin' YouTube channel. I ran out of there. I couldn't handle it and I couldn't stop crying. I feel so disrespected, and the worst part is he doesn't even understand why. He says that he gave me a nice party and bought me a great gift, so I should lighten up over one little prank. I told him that if he published that fucking video, I'd punch him in his throat, and in no certain terms told him that I felt disrespected, humiliated, and devastated by what he had done to me. He told me to stop being a drama queen. We've barely spoken to each other since that day, and a couple of hours ago he sent me a text asking me if he should stay somewhere else that weekend. I don't know what to do. I'm honestly thinking about leaving because he seriously thinks what he did to me was funny instead of insulting and disrespectful. I cannot think straight. This is already pretty tragic. Honestly, I feel like that's not something you should be joking about. But let's see what the update has to say 4 days later. To start off, I just want to say thank you. I've gotten so many messages and comments offering me not only support, but advice, offering a shoulder to cry on, offering me a person to vent to, you name it. It's seriously awesome. Thank you guys. Sincerely. I never did return Mike's seriously text, and he didn't come home, which made me think that he stayed over at his friend's house. After sleeping on it for a couple of days, I'd already come to the decision to break up. I just couldn't get over what he did, and I didn't think he could get over what he did, and how he didn't care about what he did to me affected me. My mind was made up. His name is on the lease, so I called my mom and dad to explain the situation and told them I wanted to come home, which of course they said yes right away. My parents are 150% furious at him. I texted his best friend to tell Mike that I was moving out, and lo and behold, he told me that Mike hasn't been staying with him. I asked him if he knew where Mike was, and he said he wasn't sure, but he'll find out and get back to me. I reached out to a couple of our mutual friends, and one that's more of my friend than his did some asking around and found out the truth. Turns out Mike has been shacking up with the girl he's been cheating on me with for months. Bro, this grammar needs to be fixed. It's so hard to read. There's so many things I could say about this, but sometimes I think silence speaks louder than words. He's been texting and calling me like crazy since he heard I found out. I'm ignoring him. I grabbed my essentials and left back to my parents' house. They're over there today with the movers to remove all my stuff. My dad is a lawyer and he promised to put the screws to Mike about uploading the video. I hope that he has any decency he has left in his shitbag heart will stop him from putting that video online. I'm so numb right now. I feel like the world's biggest idiot for loving him and trusting him for 6 years. I probably am an idiot, but I think I'm gonna be okay. Thanks again, everyone. Also, for everyone that asked, most of the girls we're mutual friends with are now treating him like shit for what he did. The waitress that night was also horrified and ripped into him and his friend after I left about how fucked up what they did was. I'll take the small victories. It's a crazy story, and honestly, yeah, but for 6 years, that's like a very long time. That's crazy. So, that must really hurt, man. But glad you got out of there before, it got even worse. But yeah, that must hurt. Yeah, I don't know what that guy was thinking when he thought that would be funny. And the fact that he was cheating on you, like, just 6 years relationship too. Horrible dude. Well, glad you got out of there. Yeah. Alright, we got this one last story for you guys. My girlfriend has secret social media accounts. How bad is this? My girlfriend, Bea, I don't know how you say it, Bea, and I have been together for nearly 6 months now, dating a few before that. She's great and it's been smooth sailing so far. We don't argue and we have a lot of fun. She's very honest with me, or as far as I have always known, she is. She tends to admit things because she'd rather me know up front than find out from someone else. They're never awful things, just small things, say about her past that I might have found out one day, might not. She says in her past she used to tell white lies and they'd end up biting her on the arse, so she's just upfront now, even with things I might not like to hear. She literally told me if she ate a biscuit from my tin when I was in the shower because she doesn't want to lie. I don't care, it's a bloody biscuit, but it's cute. The other day I noticed her getting a lot of notifications on her phone from Instagram. I made a joke about her being popular and she saw her phone and locked it and put it face down. She didn't seem guilty, but she definitely hid the screen from me. She's not posted anything on Instagram in weeks. Sorry, I know that sounds insane to check. I also noticed she had Twitter notifications. She mentioned before that she's never used Twitter. I even searched her name and found nothing. The notification started again today and I tried to get a glimpse of the screen, but she flipped it again. I asked her why her phone was going off and she said just group chats. But I'm sure it was Instagram. Sometimes she hides her screen from me, but she says she's planning a birthday present, which is possible. I know she's planning something for it. I trust this girl, but the behavior is weird. Does anyone have experience here or thoughts on what she's doing? I really don't think she'd cheat, but why does she have secret accounts? Interesting. Let's see what the update says. Sorry if I came off as jealous or possessive in the last post. I'm honestly not. I'm very relaxed in terms of jealousy, and I trust Bea. I don't think she would ever cheat. I just don't know why she would hide things from me. She's usually an open book at a free library where the doors aren't even shut. So we were watching TV last night and she was tilting her phone away from me. She put it down and made a cup of tea, and within 10 minutes it flashed Instagram notifications about 50 times. I couldn't help it and I said, "Bae, who's messaging you so much?" She sort of cringed and laughed, made me promise not to make fun of her. She made this fake dramatic noise and said she'd been hiding this for way too long now and she knew I'd find out. She has a meme page for a baking show. It's oddly popular and she makes these memes to amuse herself and some people seem to like them a lot. So yeah, no cheating, just a weird secret that never needed to be a secret. I mean, obviously I teased her a bit, but the memes are quite funny, so now I follow it. But she's made me swear not to tell anyone it's her. Sorry for the drama, everyone, problem resolved. That's a really happy ending. That's kind of funny too. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Tell me if you guys have any feedback, and I'll see you guys in the same world. And next time we'll probably go look for a village or something, but we got full diamond, I'm happy with that. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.